What's up, Notre Dame fans? Mike Singer from blueandgold.com here with the weekly recruiting wrap. Tons of really good Notre Dame recruiting updates to get to. Before we dive into it, quick word from our sponsors, Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. Picture on the right side of the screen is what I got from Manscaped. Lawnmower 3.0 for below the waist shaving, ball toner, ball deodorant. They have shirts, underwear, like all sorts of really good stuff at Manscaped. Use promo 20BlueGold. That'll get you free shipping and 20% off your order. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men, and that includes yours truly, Mike Singer. You need to be the next to purchase some Manscaped products. Let's talk about Notre Dame's newest quarterback offer in the 2023 class. The Irish have already offered Arch Manning and Dante Moore. They did so on St. Patrick's Day during that Pot of Gold initiative. But an offer this week went out to Malachi Nelson, number 2 player overall in the country in that 23 cycle. Actually, Arch Manning is the number 3 player. So Rivals has Nelson ranked just one slot above. You see this video of him here, and he clearly is impressive. The arm talent, the size. Malachi Nelson is such a really good quarterback stat. He had an incredible spring junior season in the state of California. Yeah, I know Notre Dame fans aren't going to want to hear this, but the Irish were a little bit late to this party. It's still in his sophomore year of high school, so it's like, how late can you actually be if that's the case? But if he's going to want to decide this July, he's locked in to make a commitment July 18. Notre Dame's just going to need to get him on campus in June and wow him and go after him hard these next couple of months. Tommy Rees, you're certainly going to need to see him bust his tail in this recruitment. Brian Kelly get involved. You got to give some credit to the staff and like going after the best quarterbacks in the 2023 class, and Manning, Moore, and now Nelson, but going and closing on them is another deal. I mean, Drew Pine, Tyler Buckner, Steve Angeli, all Under Armour All-Americans. We'll actually touch on Angeli at the end of the show here, but you need to go out and get another big-time quarterback, and Nelson might be that guy. But Oklahoma will be tough to beat. I'm sure you guys have seen this all over Twitter, maybe in your own towns. Notre Dame is doing this virtual recruiting blitz, and it's not only the billboard stuff. So this is a tweet from Jaden Thomas from Atlanta. He signed with Notre Dame back in December. He's going to be enrolling this summer. He was put on a billboard. I'm from Atlanta. I chose Notre Dame. But it's not just the billboard stuff that Notre Dame has been doing during their little virtual recruiting blitz. They're tweeting out videos of players in these areas and why, of them talking about why they pick Notre Dame. And I honestly think the biggest thing about all of this, and it's not the billboards, it is that the Notre Dame staff, each position coach has its own recruiting areas, and each day they're reaching out to about 15 or 20 coaches from their recruiting area. When you add that up, that's over 1,000 high school coaches that Notre Dame will be in contact with starting Thursday, May 6th through the end of next Friday. That is impressive. From what I'm told, there's so much optimism inside the Goo, and people really feel like that this initiative is going to pay dividends for Notre Dame. A familiar name, Oradell, New Jersey Bergen Catholic defensive back Jaden Bellamy announced his top 6 on Thursday, May 6th. That includes Clemson, Notre Dame, Penn State, Rutgers, Oklahoma, and Ohio State. He will be taking 3 official visits in the month of June. Notre Dame, Penn State, and Ohio State getting them. And I feel like those are the top 3 contenders to land him. I feel like Notre Dame's got a really good chance here. He's teammates with Notre Dame quarterback Steve Angeli. The second mention of Mr. Angeli, we'll dive into him a little bit later in the video still. 6'1", 175 pounds, had a breakout junior season. Jaden Bellamy, definitely a guy to keep an eye on. Again, officially visiting Notre Dame in June, and the Irish have more than a good chance to land him. And there we go. Time to talk about him. Steve Angeli, 4-star Notre Dame quarterback pledge, invited to the Under Armour All-America game. He was at the Baltimore regional camp last weekend. Told he looked really good, and he got his golden ticket invite. This is Notre Dame's 3rd straight quarterback to be invited to the Under Armour All-America game. You had Drew Pine in the 2020 class. I saw him at the week of practices and obviously watched him in the game, and I felt like he was the best quarterback there, and he certainly had the best statistical performance in the game. And then in the 2021 cycle, Tyler Buckner, he didn't get to play in the Under Armour All-America game because there wasn't one. It was canceled due to COVID-19 concerns at the beginning of this year. But he was an Under Armour All-America. And then you have Steve Angeli, who was, I believe, the 6th quarterback invited. So the last one. I mean, that's important to me to mention that they only had one spot left. And they could have waited after more regional camps or to go invite, other guys. But Angeli was the guy that they wanted. They saw, you have to go to one of these regional camps to get invited to the Under Armour All-American game. So it's not like they could have offered him 2 months ago. But Angeli was at the regional camp in Baltimore. He impressed, and he got his golden ticket. I also feel like there's a good chance that he could be invited to the Elite 11 finals this summer. So continue to keep an eye on Notre Dame quarterback Steve Angeli. He's doing a great job on the recruiting trail for the Irish. He will be taking his official visit in June and helping recruit Notre Dame, helping recruit for Notre Dame with some of those big-time prospects. And last but certainly not least, maybe the biggest news here is Notre Dame locking in an official visit with 5-star offensive tackle Zach Rice. Been reporting about this all week at blueandgold.com. Number 17 overall player in the country, number 3 offensive tackle, top player from the state of Virginia. Alabama, North Carolina, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Virginia, the top 5 schools there. So we locked in a couple official visits, Notre Dame being one of them at the end of June, and that is massive news. Whenever I talk about offensive line recruiting, I'll mention Zach Rice. Maybe sometimes I've forgotten to mention Zach Rice because I just didn't feel like it was going to happen for Notre Dame, and it still might not. But the fact that he's setting up an official visit is huge news for Notre Dame. Even if they don't get him, you're doing all you can to go get this kind of 5-star prospect who I've seen him in person, seen him on film. This is a bona fide big-time player. I think North Carolina's probably the leader. When Alabama's going after a kid, like, it's hard to beat Alabama too. But again, you're getting an official visit. A kid like Zach Rice and what he's looking for fits Notre Dame in terms of academics and locker room culture. Notre Dame is right up there with the best of the best. Again, feel like North Carolina's probably the team to beat, but I think you have to feel a little bit more optimistic about the Irish's chances here. That's going to do it for this video. One quick other nugget: Notre Dame coaches put out the bat signal on Friday afternoon. So is there a new commitment coming up in the next 24 hours? Make sure you locked in at blueandgold.com and right here on our YouTube page for all of the coverage of that potential news. And again, use that promo code 20BlueGold at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you.